Good evening and welcome to the April 29th meeting of the Bella Vista City Council. Will you please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do a roll call of the council. Councilmember Wozniak.
Here.
Lloyd.
Here.
Flynn.
Here.
Fowler.
Here.
Burke.
Here.
And Councilmember Wilms is absent.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to citizen input. Christian, you're up first.
Thank you. It was one of the main things that I noticed when I was running in 2018 was that I would ask people, do you come to the city council meetings? And I knew they didn't because we only had 3 or 4 people showing up. And I would ask them why. And I'd say about 90% of the people that I talked to always said when they come up here and speak just like I'm doing, it was like talking to a brick wall. That's what people would say. And I know that everybody up here listens to what people say, but when you're a citizen who's your first time showing up to a city council meeting, you come up here and speak, and all you get is looks and a little bit of discussion, and they say thank you, and you walk away. It makes you feel like it's not being listened to. While we all know that it is, it gives off that impression, and it scares people away. And they don't want to come to meetings, and they feel like their voice is not being heard. It's nice to be able to call council members and to email council members, but that face-to-face interaction is what's going to get people involved in our city, which is what's going to make our city even better than it already is. So I support Councilmember Burke's proposal to at least allow some sort of response to some citizen input. It doesn't require it, but it gives that opportunity. So, thank you.
Great, thanks, Christian. Jim?
I'm Jim Parsons, and I'm chairman of the Bella Vista Patriots. And if I'm a little bit more incoherent than I usually am, why? Because I had a heart attack Tuesday night, and so if I kind of go off the wall here, why? Just tell me to go sit down. I'll be glad to just lie down. Because the Bella Vista Patriots are a watchdog group, I feel like maybe we have followed this stump dump issue perhaps more than anyone in the state, because we've been watching it since 2003. I don't know how many of you were here in 2005, but here is a picture of the Bella Vista Patriots. We rented a bus and we went to Little Rock, to the Capitol, to lobby to see if we could become a city, and we were successful, and we became a city because I think most of the voters thought if we became a city, surely the POA would eventually dwindle away and the Cooper influence would go away. And so that hasn't happened. And so now here we are. Leon Huff, our vice chairman, we had been watching the stump dump since 2003 and noticing that Cooper trucks were going in there and dumping trash. We knew the stump dump didn't have a permit. It was an illegal thing to start with. POA was going in there. The Townhouse Association was going in there. Some of the drivers who had been fired and disgruntled gave us affidavits about that they were dumping trash in there, and so we knew it. We were trying to watch for it, and finally one day Leon knocked on my door one morning and said, look, I've got the pictures. There's Cooper dumping these concrete mixing drums 50 or 60 feet down into the dump. And finally, why, we've got it. So we called ADEQ. They came out the next day, had them bring those drums out of there. But the ADEQ didn't do anything. And why they didn't shut it down, I don't know. We asked them, shut the thing down. It's illegal. But they didn't. And so we see that in 2016, now what a mess we're in and how much they've put in there. And now the fire is burning. The 21 to $37 billion The governor has pledged $20 million. That has to be paid back. That was strictly a loan. Senator Hendren is another $10 million, and that's going to have to be paid back. And the ones to pay it back is Cooper and the ones who did it. And ADEQ know this, and they have said so. And they said that after the fire is out and the land has been restored, they'll add up all the bills and they'll be presenting them to Cooper and the POA. Now, Blue Mountain Storage, that man by Tom Fredericks, he's out of the country right now, evidently, so I don't think he's going to be pitching in. So I guess it's going to be between those two to be around maybe 21 to $37 million. We've always had the slogan, the Patriots. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Kelly.
How you guys doing?
Good, good.
Okay, I ran out of the house and forgot my glasses, so I'm gonna try to read what I wrote here. Okay, I come to you tonight with two concerns. The first relates to the lack of disposal of the facilities here in this area, either permitted dump sites or permitted landfill here in Bella Vista. Where our residents can legally and properly dispose of yard and other waste. As long as there's not, I'm just gonna forget that. It's too hard for me to read it. I'm just wondering why our city doesn't have a permitted legal stump dump like most cities do. I mean, wouldn't it eliminate the problem that we're dealing with, not only here, I hear there's a couple other fires and other stump dumps. I don't have those facts with me. I've seen videos and photos of smoke coming from another stump dump. So instead of, just not doing anything about it or getting this one out and containing these other areas that are problems, why don't the city, and I don't even know if this is where I need to go with this, why doesn't our city start some sort of landfill? I mean, wouldn't that be some sort of revenue as well as stopping this problem that persists in our city? I don't know if you can elaborate on that.
I will. When I give you the update, I've got some things that we're working on.
Okay, sweet. The next thing, and I don't know, if this is an appropriate place to do this or say this. I've been out of town and I just heard about this. So what is the deal with John Nuttall being appointed to whatever position that he's going to be holding here in the city? Has he been appointed some position?
No, he may be with the POA, but not the city.
But not the city?
No.
Okay, my bad.
We put him on, just put him on a commission that he's already on.
Oh, which one is that?
Construction.
Oh, the construction
He's
field.
already on.
So he
Already
is.
there.
He was
Here's a
already
guy
there.
that's been fired for his ethnic background, for his behavior, and yet we're going to appoint this guy as some commission. How can that even be possible? Why don't you get someone that's not affiliated, that doesn't have some shiesty background, that has the best interest of our city, and not some self-motivated, selfish behavior where, everyone benefits from it? I don't understand why we would do something like that. And if you appointed it, and if that's already a done deal, can he be removed? Or, why wasn't this, I'm not sure how all this works, you know what I mean? Obviously, but I think, it should be some sort of vote where people have a chance to become that type of person instead of, let's appoint this guy for whatever reason.
Okay, I'll address that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. My thanks to all of you. We'll move on with the approval of minutes for the March 25th City Council meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
carries.
Okay, thank you. The monthly financials for February were sent out to you. We still are in very good shape. Our reserve balance is at $7.5 million, which represents 60% of our annualized total unrestricted revenue. If you remember, our financial policy says that we can't go below 25%, so we're in good shape. The Trafalgar Road fire update. ADEQ advised us last Friday that they have finished with the access road. When asked, when are you going to start the fire suppression, they don't have a date. For those of you that attended the, I believe it was April the 18th session, they had no dates there either, other than it was going to take 30 days to put the fire out and then 180 days after that to do the extraction. But we still don't have any dates. And of course, we're not involved in any of the planning. So it'll be put on the website. I'm sure what will happen is they'll issue a press release and then all of us will know at the same time. So it's a good news, bad news. They're finished with the prep, but they need to get that fire out. We are actually looking at two alternatives instead of doing a stump dump. One is to see if that air curtain technology that they're going to be using on the stump dump is really going to work. So we're going to watch that closely. If it truly doesn't emit a lot of smoke, that may be the way to go, is to allow residents to bring their organics, and we'll take care of it that way. There are also a group of residents that have approached me, and they're looking at a possible mulching solution. I gather there's a mulching operation done by the city of Russellville, so we'll be looking at that as well. Again, of course, it all has to be permitted. I've already asked ADEQ to give me some background on what kind of permits are required for the air curtain technology. For example, do they have the background to be able to tell us, is it going to create a lot of smoke or not? Is it going to create smog? I don't want any of that. And then once I get a little more information on this mulching thing, then we'll be approaching them as well. As to the commissions, we actually advertise all the positions in the local newspapers and people can apply. And then they're interviewed, and we advertised, and unfortunately no one stepped forward other than the current incumbents. So that's what happens with all the commissions. It'd be nice to get a bit of change, I'm sure, but we need people to step forward. And so just keep watching the newspaper. The Bella Vista Weekly is usually a good one to watch for that. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read all proposed ordinances and resolutions on the agenda by title only.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Wozniak,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
carried 5-0.
We have 4 pieces of business this evening. The first is an ordinance accepting and confirming the dedication of public right-of-way by Senior Living Concepts, Plaza at Highlands Cooperative, Crossing Cooperative, and Brookfield Assisted Living LLC near the area of Highlands Crossing. This is a road that was private, and we were approached about 2 years ago by the folks living at the Plaza to see if we would take over the road. So we would snow plow it and we would keep it in good shape. Superintendent Button and myself went out, had a look at the road. It's in great shape. And then we have to get easements. And there are actually 4 different property owners that touch it, Cooper, and then the other 3 that I just read here. Cooper actually gave the easements, I believe it was in November of last year, and we brought it to council and it was approved. Now the other 3 have given us all the legals, and so the proposal now is that we finish those 3 and take over the road. If council accepts it, it would normally go through 3 readings. What you're going to hear tonight is I'm going to recommend to council that we fast track it and go to 3rd and final this evening. And then it is a 60-day waiting period from the time that it's actually published in the newspaper after the meeting, and then it becomes law. So I know that the Plaza residents have been looking forward to this for quite some time, and so we'll move forward with it. Is there any discussion at all? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules and move to third and final.
So move.
Second. All right, roll call vote. Councilmember Lloyd,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
carried 5-0.
Okay, so now I will do the third and final reading, accepting and confirming the dedication of public right-of-way by Senior Living Concepts, Plaza at Highlands Crossing Cooperative, and Brookfield Assisted Living LLC near the area of Highlands Crossing. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So move. Second?
All right. Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
carried 5-0.
Okay, the next is an ordinance amending Section 2-111, General Rules of Procedure of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bella Vista to provide a period for City Council response to public participation during regular City Council meetings. Discussion. Steve, this is yours.
Yes. Mayor, tonight I'm proposing a simple but important rule change that will allow for this city council to be more responsive to the citizens of Bella Vista. Even prior to my joining this council, I observed a number of meetings where it seemed entirely appropriate for some manner of response to the citizens who attended and spoke during public input. After joining the council, I came to learn that the council's own rules for these meetings do not allow for any such response. I believe it's time for that to change, and I believe we can be a better city council if we are more responsive as a group and as individuals. I appreciate we will not be able to satisfy every question or address every issue that citizens bring us during public input, but also we should not have rules that preclude members of this council to comment after the public input session has concluded. With that, I move for this council to adopt this new rule that simply allows the option for any council member to respond if we feel such a response is useful and appropriate.
Okay. Are you making a motion?
I did.
Okay, so,
So it's the motion to, well, to suspend,
To adopt the new rule.
okay, well, that would not,
No.
that would not be in order this time.
no. Okay, we have to go through the three readings because it's an ordinance, and that would normally be three council sessions. However, if you like, you can move to suspend the rules and move to third and final, as we just did on the previous piece.
Yes.
Do you want to open it up to more discussion before you do that?
Happy to do that.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. So before the motion, sir?
I would just like not to do this all one night. I think this is important enough. All six of us need to vote. We have one who's not here. If we hold it back a month, what difference does it make? We've been doing it this way for 52 months. One more month shouldn't make a difference. I don't think it'll change the vote, but I think it's important enough. All six of us should be voting on it. Something else that I may throw out, that if there's response, it only comes from the mayor because he's got all the answers. And we'll make sure we get it told right the first time instead of saying something that gets interpreted wrong or perceived wrong, and then it comes back to bite us later. He can answer 99% of the questions as well as we can, and that way we get it straight from the horse's mouth per se, and we at least get the right information back to the people.
Okay. Anyone else? John?
I wasn't positive about that. So that second comment you made, Jim, the point of that is maybe we shouldn't vote for this.
Till we're all here.
Till Larry gets
Instead of going to the third reading tonight,
Yeah, but the part about the mayor answering the
that would be
questions.
something else
Yeah,
that I may or may not throw out next month, because I'd have to talk to him and see how bad he wants to do that.
yeah.
But that's a thought, move it back. 1 month's not gonna make a difference. And then maybe I'll say something next month about our response comes from him and nobody else.
Yeah, well, I mean, right, at this point anyway, I mean, unless Steve makes a motion to go to third and final, it has to go through 3 readings anyway, so I don't have a problem with
Well,
that.
but he's going to do that, because that's what we discussed at the meeting. He wants to
Yeah.
run it up, and I don't have a problem with that. I just said, I think it's important enough, all 6 of us should be voting, not just
That's fine.
those who are
I don't
here.
have an issue with that. But I would say I'm supportive of the ordinance personally. I feel like there's times when, you know, there'd be opportunity to respond to comment.
I have no doubt it's gonna fly, okay?
Yeah,
No
and-
matter
and-
what I feel personally, or
That's-
what I've seen in my 16 years of city council and county stuff, I have no doubt it's gonna fly.
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually think it has a possibility of making the city council better. I mean, I think it'll help us be on top of our game more and anticipate questions that might be coming from the community or issues that might be coming from the community.
And then my
And I-
other thing would be, all the questions get answered from the center.
Yeah, no, I'm supportive of any city council member having feedback if they think it's
If we vote,
appropriate.
that's how
So-
she's gonna fly,
So that's where I am.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I'm probably gonna lose that one too, and I'm used to being used to the short end of the stick, and that's okay. But I'm just telling you what I feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Linda, do you have anything?
Yes, I'm generally supportive of this. As last month I'd mentioned in the work session about having a town hall and to be more open and responsive, and I think this would satisfy a number of the issues I had then. Anything we can do to be more open and responsive is a good thing.
Okay. John?
Well, I'm not enthused about delaying just because somebody's missing. I mean, next month, one of us could be sick or
We'll vote on
something.
it, then I'll lose, that's fine. I just brought it up.
If I'm not mistaken, Steve already made a motion to suspend the rules. and
No,
move to
no,
third.
not yet.
no, not yet.
Well, that's what he had said originally, so.
No, he wanted to
Well,
move to adopt.
yeah.
Okay, so Steve, the ball's in your court. Do you want to let it go a month, or do you
I-
want to suspend the rules?
I appreciate all the comments offered. I also don't know that we will have full attendance next time. Especially given Jim's comments, I feel that people see this as a simple rule change that we ought to make. We ought to be practicing this way anyway. I'd like to make a motion then that
To
we move
suspend the rules
third-
and move to third and
Suspend the
final?
rules and move to third and final reading.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All right. So you're
Okay,
voting
roll call
now on
vote
to suspend the rules.
on suspending. Councilmember Lloyd,
Yes,
Flynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Reluctantly, yes.
Fowler,
Yes,
Bork.
Yes.
Burke, excuse me. Carried.
Okay, now we're going to go to the third and final reading, amending Section 2-111, General Rules of Procedure of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bella Vista, to provide a period for city council response to public participation during regular city council meetings. Any further discussion? Okay, a motion to approve.
so moved.
Second.
Okay.
All right. Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes,
Lloyd,
yes,
Wozniak,
Reluctantly, yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to the first resolution of the evening, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to enter into a 3-year lease contract with Dell Financial Services in an amount not to exceed $18,624.75 for the lease of Dell Optiplex computers and associated equipment. So what we're doing, and what we have been doing for the last 3 years, is modernizing all the computer network and the hardware and the software within the city operation. And we had a great deal of very old equipment that was so old, some of it was frankly no longer supported. So what we've been doing is changing the way that we've been approaching this and doing it slowly to make sure that we can stay within our means. This is the last chunk of old computers that we'd like to replace. And rather than purchase them, of which I'm not a big fan of computers being purchased, we are leasing them because it makes more financial sense on the lease versus buy, plus the life is about 3 years. So why would we buy something that's going to be archaic, for lack of a better word, and then be stuck with it? I'd rather just lease it and then give it back to Dell, and it's their problem. So that's the way that we're approaching it. Is there any discussion at all?
No.
I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Linda?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Carried, 5-0.
Okay, the last resolution of the evening is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a contract with Deco Paving in an amount not to exceed $910,968.11 or $70.64 per ton for asphalt street resurfacing and other street department asphalt paving. And further authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to enter into a contract with Vance Brothers, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $654,881.81 or $1.93 per square yard for Slurry Street resurfacing. So what we did way back in 2016 budget was we increased the annual resurfacing budget from $800,000 to $1.2 million because we're trying to get ahead of the curve here. We know that there are more people coming here and the infrastructure is being used more frequently. Plus, we also hired a company in 2016 and 2017 to come in and give us an assessment of all the roads by name. Where do we start at first and how are we going to tackle this? And we've been working with the University of Arkansas as well. They have a very, very smart lady down there I call the doctor of asphalt, and she knows this stuff cold. So she's been of great assistance to us. This year, we're going to ratchet it up just a little bit more because of the fact that if you remember, I have mentioned to you that last year we brought in our financial policies, which allowed us to still keep our reserve at 25% of unrestricted revenues, but we were already at 58 and we're still at 60%. So rather than go into debt, borrow and whatnot, let's use some of yours and my money that we've been storing up so that we can tackle some more of the roads. So what we have done is when you add these two together, it comes to 1.6 million. And we have roughly 2 million to spend. So there are two projects that we've been wanting to zero in on for quite some time. One is Rothbury Road, which is the road in which Simple Pleasures, if you're familiar with it, off the Highlands is located. There's a stretch of that road that's between 500 and 600 feet long that is in pretty bad shape. And the reason is the owners on either side of that strip never sold to Cooper. And as a result of that, there were no easements ever put into play. So when we, as a city, took over all the roads, we had this one chunk. We did approach the owners a couple of years ago and asked if they would work with us and we would buy the easements, and one of them refused. So we're taking another kick at it this year. I feel it's something that we've really got to do because the whole road, all of Rothbury, needs to be repaved, and that's included in our plan. But we need to be able to construct this and get the base fixed. Plus, we also have to have some utility movements because Carroll Electric has some poles. So we've got to take that into consideration as well. So the plan is to get the rights of way, get the utilities moved, and get all of Rothbury paved this year. So that's project number one. Project number two, on the east side, there is a road known as County Road, and it runs roughly from Watson near Houston up to Dillow near Commonwealth. It is a very favorite shortcut, but it's a narrow road, and as I mentioned, it is unpaved. It's gravel and dirt. It's time to get that paved so that our residents aren't getting more dings in their cars and whatever else is happening as they drive up and down this thing. So the plan is we need to get the rights of way this year, and we also have to work with Carroll and have more poles moved. And that's about as far as we can go on the money that we have. We will pave it next year. but it's a start. We've had an awful lot of residents over the years ask for not only Rothbury, but also for the county road project. So a long explanation for a resolution, but I wanted everybody to be certain of how we're spending the money and how we're approaching those two special projects. Any questions at all? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Councilmember Lloyd,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes?
Fowler,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
carried 5-0.
Thank you. Meetings and announcements. The next City Council work session will be Monday, May 13th at 5:30 here in the Court Building. And the next regular meeting of City Council will be Monday, May 20th at 6:30, also here in the Court Building. And similar to this month, we have moved it up from, it's normally the third week for the work and the fourth week for the regular, but because of the holiday at the end of the month, we've advanced it a week, same as we did for Easter as well. So we brought it forward for a week. So if you're talking to any of your neighbors and they're thinking that they might want to come out to the May, just please remind them that it's not the 3rd and 4th. It'll be the 2nd and the 3rd. The Planning Commission work session will be Thursday, May the 2nd at 4:30 here in the court. The Planning Commission regular meeting will be May 13th at 6:30 p.m. In the Bella Vista City Conference Room. And the Board of Zoning Adjustment, if required, will be May 21st at 5:30 in the court. And the Board of Construction Appeals, again, if required, will be May 15th here in the court building. Thank you very much. We've got some...
Sir, Mayor, I'm
Yep.
sorry. I apologize. This is, if I let this pass, I wouldn't feel real good about myself. Kelly, I can understand maybe a concern about individuals being on commissions or councils or boards or whatever in Bella Vista if they have a questionable character. But John Nuttall is not a shady character. I'm not close personal friends with John, but I do see him all the time. I think most of the people in this room do. Whatever occurred at the POA and on the board, it was an infraction of one of the rules, I understand. I'm not even that close to it, quite honestly. I've got enough on my plate to try to take care of without worrying about everything that the POA does. But John's really active in this community. In his own way, he works really, really hard to make it a better place to live. So whatever occurred there, it occurred, but it's not anything criminal. It's not anything, illegal as far as public is concerned. But John's a good guy. I see he and his wife all the time. They're always at Country Club. And I'm sorry, I just can't allow him to be called, a shady character. He's really a good guy. Now, you might take a different position than John, just like you would any one of us. But that's just kind of whenever you're a public person, you kind of hold yourself up to judgment like that. But he's not making any decisions that's going to hurt anybody. But anyway, I just want to say John Nuttall's a good guy. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. We have some nasty weather moving in the next few days, so batten down the hatches. And thanks so much for coming out this evening. We are adjourned.